Days stretched into weeks since Constantine and Elias had broken the curse that had plagued the ancient mansion nestled among the misty mountains. The air around the mansion had regained a semblance of tranquility. Yet Constantine found himself increasingly haunted by unsettling dreams that stirred him from sleep with a start. It began with a whisper, a soft, plaintive voice that echoed through the corridors of his mind. Each night, as he drifted into the realm of dreams, Constantine found himself standing before a grand staircase wreathed in shadows. At its apex stood a spectral woman, her features blurred by the mists of time, yet her eyes burning with an intensity that seared into his soul. "Help me," she pleaded, her voice a whisper carried on the wind. "Release me from this eternal torment." Constantine would awaken drenched in sweat, the echo of her plea reverberating in his mind long after the dream had faded. He could not shake the feeling that the woman's fate was inexorably tied to the mansion's dark history. A history that beckoned him with the promise of answers yet concealed its truths behind veils of shadow and deception. Driven by a gnawing curiosity and an unyielding sense of responsibility, Constantine delved deeper into the mansion's labyrinthine depths. He returned to the library, where shelves sagged under the weight of forgotten tomes and ancient manuscripts that whispered of forbidden knowledge and arcane rituals. Amongst the dusty pages, he uncovered fragments of a tale that spoke of a forbidden ritual. A ritual born of desperation and fueled by hubris. Long ago, the mansion's original inhabitants had sought to harness the powers of the beyond. Believing themselves untethered from the laws that bound mortal souls to earthly realms. Led by a charismatic patriarch named Victor Sinclair, they had delved into the darkest corners of arcane lore, uncovering rituals that promised immortality and boundless power. But their ambitions had blinded them to the consequences of their actions, their arrogance paving the way for a catastrophe that would echo through the ages. The ritual had gone awry, its energies spiraling out of control and tearing a rift between worlds. Souls that had been meant for transcendence became ensnared within the mansion's walls. Their cries of anguish echoing through the corridors like a dirge for lost innocence. Amongst those trapped souls was the spirit of Emily Sinclair, Victor's beloved daughter and unwitting victim of her father's folly. Her spectral form now wandered the mansion's halls, trapped in a liminal state between life and death. Her essence bound to the very walls that had once sheltered her. As Constantine pieced together the fragments of Emily's tragic tale, he began to experience visions that transcended the boundaries of waking reality. In moments of solitude, the mansion's oppressive atmosphere would seem to warp and shift, transporting him to scenes from a bygone era. He saw Emily, her laughter ringing through sun-dappled gardens as she danced beneath the watchful gaze of her father. He witnessed the fateful night of the ritual, when shadows danced like malevolent spirits and the air crackled with arcane energies that defied comprehension. And he felt the searing pain of Emily's anguish as her spirit became ensnared within the mansion's labyrinth of despair. But it was not only Emily's torment that plagued Constantine's dreams. Other spirits, their faces twisted with rage and sorrow, reached out to him from the shadows. They whispered of betrayal and vengeance, their voices a chorus of anguish that threatened to overwhelm his senses. Elias, too, was haunted by visions of the past, his weathered face drawn tight with sorrow as he recounted tales of those who had perished within the mansion's walls. He spoke of Victor Sinclair's descent into madness, his grief over Emily's fate driving him to seek solace in forbidden rituals that promised a reunion beyond the veil of death. Together, Constantine and Elias sought to unravel the mysteries that bound the mansion and its restless spirits in a timeless dance of sorrow and redemption. They ventured into forgotten chambers and hidden alcoves, uncovering relics and artifacts that bore witness to the mansion's dark descent into madness. One night, as they delved deeper into the mansion's secrets, Constantine and Elias stumbled upon a hidden chamber concealed behind a tapestry woven with scenes of celestial bodies and arcane symbols. Within the chamber lay an ancient tome bound in leather that pulsed with a faint, ominous glow. The tome revealed the final piece of the puzzle, a ritual of release that promised to free the trapped souls and restore balance to the mansion's fractured reality. But the ritual came with a price, its demands steep and its consequences unknown. With trembling hands, Constantine traced the ritual's intricate symbols and incantations, committing them to memory with a determination born of desperation. He knew that he must confront the malevolent forces that had ensnared Emily and the other spirits within the mansion's walls, lest their torment continue unabated. Under the light of a waning moon, Constantine and Elias gathered the necessary ingredients and prepared to perform the ritual of release. The mansion's atmosphere grew tense and charged with anticipation, as if the very walls awaited the outcome of their audacious endeavor. As they stood before the ancient altar hidden deep within the mansion's labyrinthine corridors, Constantine felt a surge of primal energy coursing through his veins. He recited the incantations with a voice that trembled with the weight of centuries-old sorrow and whispered prayers for forgiveness. The air shimmered with ethereal light as the ritual took hold, its energies weaving through the mansion like a tapestry of dreams and nightmares. Shadows coalesced into spectral forms that writhed and twisted in agony, their cries of release mingling with the echoes of centuries-old regret. And then, with a blinding flash of light, the mansion's ancient curse was broken. Emily's spirit emerged from the shadows, her form radiant with an otherworldly grace as she gazed upon Constantine with eyes that sparkled with tears of gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice a soft breeze that carried the weight of countless sorrows. "You have freed us from the chains that bound us to this place." As dawn broke over the mist-shrouded mountains, Constantine emerged from the depths of the mansion, his heart heavy yet uplifted by the knowledge that he had helped to right a centuries-old wrong. The mansion stood silent and still, its walls no longer haunted by the specters of the past. But as he turned to leave the mansion behind and step into the uncertain future that awaited him, Constantine knew that the echoes of Emily's story would linger in his heart forever. A testament to the enduring power of love and the darkness that lurks within us all. As Constantine delved deeper into the mysteries of the mansion, the once tranquil atmosphere began to twist and distort. Shadows took on sinister forms, slithering across the walls like malevolent serpents. Cold drafts carried with them anguished cries that chilled Constantine to the bone. It was as if the very air itself had become charged with the restless spirits of the past. One fateful night, as Constantine explored the mansion's labyrinthine corridors, he encountered apparitions unlike any he had ever seen before. These were not mere fleeting shadows or vague outlines, they were fully formed specters with eyes full of torment and voices laden with sorrow. Each seemed to bear the weight of unfinished business, their souls trapped between worlds and their gaze fixed accusingly upon Constantine. The first spirit he encountered was that of a young woman, her ethereal form flickering in and out of visibility. She appeared before him with an expression of profound sadness, reaching out as if to plead for something beyond the grave. Her story unfolded in fragments, whispered on the edges of his consciousness. A tale of betrayal and untimely death, centuries old yet still raw with emotion. Another apparition, a middle-aged man with a face contorted in rage, materialized before Constantine in a cold, dark room. His voice boomed with accusation, blaming Constantine for disturbing his eternal rest. "You have awakened us," the spirit thundered, "now you must bear the consequences." Overwhelmed by these encounters, Constantine sought refuge in the only place he thought might offer answers. The home of a local historian renowned for his knowledge of the region's dark past. Dr. Arthur Caldwell, a reclusive scholar with a penchant for ancient manuscripts and forgotten folklore, lived on the outskirts of town in a dilapidated cottage surrounded by overgrown thorns and gnarled trees. Entering Caldwell's study was like stepping into a forgotten era. The air was thick with the scent of old parchment, and the flickering light of oil lamps cast dancing shadows on the walls lined with dusty tomes. Dr. Caldwell himself, a stooped figure with piercing eyes and a mane of unruly gray hair, greeted Constantine with a mixture of curiosity and caution. "Ah, young Constantine," Caldwell rasped, his voice crackling like dry leaves. "What brings you to my humble abode on such a dark night?" Constantine wasted no time in recounting his experiences at the mansion. The apparitions, the chilling drafts, the overwhelming sense of dread that seemed to permeate every corner. To his surprise, Caldwell listened intently, nodding occasionally as if confirming some long-held suspicion. "It seems," Caldwell mused, his fingers tracing the edge of an ancient manuscript, "that you have stumbled upon something far more sinister than mere hauntings." "What do you mean?" Constantine asked, leaning forward in anticipation. Caldwell's eyes bore into Constantine's with an intensity that sent shivers down his spine. "Long ago," the historian began, his voice dropping to a hushed whisper, "this land was cursed by a dark pact. An agreement forged in desperation and sealed with blood." As Caldwell spoke, he revealed a tale of greed and treachery that stretched back centuries. In the year 1656, a wealthy landowner named Lord Abernathy had made a pact with a malevolent entity, a being of shadow and flame known only as Malphas. In exchange for wealth and power, Abernathy had promised the souls of his descendants to be forever bound to the mansion and its grounds.